Owens.
Take his money. I could care less, obviously. And I knew that he was working with Barry Weiss to call and put an article out saying that the donors, the people on the board of TPUSA want Candace gone. All of this petty, behind-the-scenes behavior because I called him on the stage. Okay? Quite literally, this is the definition of buying friends.
Here we go, y'all.
And fame. Now, in case you're listening and thinking, is Ben Shapiro actually capable of that level of pettiness?
Yes, yes. Ben Shapiro is that damn petty, yes.
The story begins in 2023, shortly after October 7th. You know, Ben was sort of having another one of his open nervous breakdowns, and his audience just went kaput. People just stopped watching his podcast because he was screaming at Americans that we needed to prioritize Israel. People just didn't feel that way. It's not our country. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but why do Americans need to be screamed at about what's happening in the Middle East? Anyways,
yeah, we need to be worried about our own country and not Israel.
And he basically said that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian life. And when I saw this, as shared by Yashar Ali on X, I responded and I said that genocidal language, no matter who shares it, is always wrong. Genocide is
exactly
wrong.
Genocide is wrong, right?
Caused an emotional breakdown amongst people who support Israel. I didn't think that was a controversial statement. I thought that was sort of what we all believed in. Genocide is always wrong. Anyways, for Ben, he then had some private event, probably at another Jewish donor's house, and somebody caught him standing on a table insulting me over my genocide is always wrong tweet. Take a listen to what Ben had to say.
I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear.
14 years ago. Today we have more than 85 stores. I've talked a million times about our perfect unpuffed shirts. But what I haven't talked
total sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not total sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making, the things that she's saying, and it's disreputable.
Disreputable, disgraceful, she works at my company. You can imagine that the internet went crazy because they wanted me to respond to him. I can't believe this. They work together, they're colleagues. Somehow this gets leaked. And I want to mention, because it's very relevant, that was on the morning of November 14th. I was 6 days away from giving birth. I was very heavily pregnant. Amazing. Wake up to this, and shockingly, nobody from the Daily Wire steps in to manage the situation. And as you can imagine, virtually every journalist, every person with a media platform was contacting me to comment, to respond to me being insulted by someone. I'm about to give birth, I'm being insulted, and they're not getting anything from the Daily Wire. So I am obviously frustrated. You should also tell you, I had no PR at this time. My PR was internal PR at the Daily Wire, and it was very clear that their focus was on protecting Ben, even though he was the one who insulted me publicly. Because I said that genocide is always wrong. That is the genesis of that statement. That's all I said. Obviously, I wanted to respond angrily to the press. I wanted to hit back at Ben. And I guess you could sort of say my perspective was an eye for an eye. But my husband was a better person than me. Instructed me that morning to said, take a deep breath, relax, okay? Don't think about what you're feeling in the moment. Think about how you're going to feel in the future. And he instructed me to instead read the Bible, Sermon on the Mount, Sermon on the Mount. And I read through it, and he reminds me that everybody who wants to comment, they don't care about me either, right? They're selling headlines, they want the clicks, they want the drama, and I'm going to feed into that for what reason? For what reason, actually, am I going to give a comment and say something about Ben Shapiro? Blessed are the peacemakers, right? Don't buy into this click culture. And so I tweeted that. Actually, my husband was right. I called for peace. I tweeted blessed are the peacemakers. And I made the mistake. I guess it was a mistake. And after I tweeted blessed are the peacemakers, and I'm thinking,
hello.
I'm going to be commended when I get back to
welcome,
work.
welcome.
Wow, you really took the high road. I ended this biblical passage with Christ is king. Christ is He's the king. He's the only thing that matters. Obviously, Christ is king. Now, it was just Tucker Carlson's luck that I had been slated to come on his news show the very next day. He had booked me 6 weeks earlier. I got approved from Daily Wire. He booked me for November 15th. So suddenly Ben gets on this table. He insults me. It's trending all over Twitter. And Tucker Carlson is going to be the first person to capture my reaction to it. And when it came time, I kept up with the peacemaker. And I decided, I made the decision to just take the high road. I said, you know, I don't want that to negatively impact how people perceive the Daily Wire.
I'm not wearing a hat. What are y'all talking
But
about?
I'm not taking the bait here. I didn't say anything snipey back at Ben because I didn't want to beat them up. That was my honest perspective. My husband was just right. And also, we're talking about a work colleague, right? Somehow, me taking the high road made him angrier. So, here's what he did. Elsewhere in my interview with Tucker, he asks me who I look up to, who I like. And I told Tucker the truth that it was my dream to meet Thomas Sowell. That when I first got into politics, I read a ton of Thomas Sowell books, and I had tried many times to meet him, and obviously he's aging, and I really looked up to Dr. Thomas Sowell. And here's that clip of me and Tucker.
Who do you listen to when you're trying to figure out, I mean, some of the stuff comes at you so fast. We're talking almost every day, we're writing almost every day. Who do you read or listen to try to make sense or bounce ideas off?
You know, I have been obsessed with Thomas Sowell.
What the hell are y'all people talking about?
Thomas Sowell groupie, everything he writes, I read, and it is because he was part of my awakening story into politics and made me focus on the economics, which is to say, block out the noise.
My glasses are red, not
Go
blue.
backwards in history to understand where we are. When has this worked? Oh, it's never worked.
Y'all people are weird.
And there's no evidence to support that. So, Ben saw that. He decided, Thomas Sowell, hey, that's your dream? You love Thomas Sowell? He thought that was an opportunity to get even with me for taking the high road after he insulted me on stage because he's deeply jealous of Tucker Carlson for reasons that I cannot quite understand. Ben had his team reach out and schedule an interview with Thomas Sowell, which they paid for, an offensive amount of money, I presume, to effectively purchase a black man who has no idea what's going on, he's very old, it's his 90s, to hurt my feelings, okay? The interview with Tucker is on the 15th, I think it premieres on the 16th, and Ben gets Thomas Sowell, who he doesn't care about. I'm working at the Daily Wire at this moment, and I'm about to give birth in 3 days, but this was supposed to be like an F.U. Candace for taking the high road and saying that genocide is always wrong. That is what I mean when I say he is an incredibly petty. Okay. Now we know how this ends. I then am fired not for what I said, but for what they assumed that I meant, and for trolls that I didn't respond to. And I want to be clear, you can fire whoever you want, you really can if you're a business owner. It's just that this was atypical in the fashion that it was done, right? It wasn't done in the way where you just say, okay, get out of here, it's not working. Instead, what they decided to do was humiliate me in front of all of the other employees by, rather than having a conversation, sort of dramatically having me exit after doing my show, not knowing that I was going to be fired. And then they had put together a stage in my studio and put up clips, put together basically the whole package, like almost like a high school play, and conducted what I honestly, when I look back, because it recently leaked what happened at this quote-unquote town hall, this is a slave hanging. This is a slave hanging, right? Gather around, everybody else is a slave, and let me tell you how this one messed up. Gather around and watch us with this person. This is literally how I feel when I watch this, okay? And
You know what? I'm about to fuck all you damn motherfuckers.
CEO Jeremy Boring, which somehow Stephen Crowder got a hold of this week, or last week, or whatever. It's just a portion, but you should watch the entire thing, because it really is something. And ask yourself in your memory, do you ever recall anybody ever being fired with 300?
How about that?
Ben joined electronically, it's up on the screen too, and just
saw that problem.
With 300 employees are invited down, and
don't you ever come in my chat and try to troll me. Fuck wrong with y'all.
Let's watch the this video.
Candace made no statement at all in the days after Hamas terrorists raped, murdered, and tortured over 1,000 Israeli civilians, mostly Jews, some Americans, and then they took hundreds more hostages. But then on October 28th of 2023, while anti-Israel protests were raging in London, where Candace, I believe, was at the time, she reposted a video of the protests on X, commenting, quote, "Interesting thing happening here. We're not accepting the media narrative about what's happening in the Middle East, despite the insistent rhetoric from government officials." On November 3rd, she posted, quote, "No government anywhere has a right to commit to genocide, ever. There is no justification for a genocide. I can't believe that either these two said, or is even considered the least bit controversial to say. There's only one country on earth that has used genocide at the time, and it's in my comment. The good immediately. They cheered at what they rightly or wrongly interpreted as Candace smearing Israel. And Candace didn't live up. But when they came to the exact same conclusion as the anti-Semites, only instead of cheering for Candace, sounded vile and rebuked her, Candace quickly attacked, saying, quote, "What's amazing about this is that I didn't name any country in this tweet. I simply stated that genocide is wrong always. This is not a controversial stance. Interesting how you interpreted it." And then followed up with, quote, "In short, if the blanket statement that genocide is wrong upsets you in any way, then you need to check yourself. I said exactly what I meant, and I won't be backing down or apologizing or further clarifying this statement." Within 24 hours, Candace liked the post calling Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal. Now let's be clear. You're free to disagree with Israel's conduct, and you're free to oppose the Netanyahu government. But the idea that Israel is committing genocide or that Netanyahu is a war criminal is just factually baseless. Unfortunately, Candace routinely makes insinuations about Jews that both lovers of anti-Semitism and haters of anti-Semitism both agree is anti-Semitic. And in almost every one of these instances, Candace says nothing to the anti-Semites who cheer her and only pushes back against those who disapprove of her conduct. On February 28th of this year, Candace, just asking questions, posted, quote, "Time to look into the history and profiteering of pornography." Her replies were immediately flooded with anti-Semites cheering her for the question and providing the answer that they interpreted her to me, the Jews. Once again, Candace did nothing to disabuse the anti-Semites of their assumptions. But when Anthony Cook came to the exact same conclusion, Candace pushed back, saying, quote, "This is utterly insane. I tweeted that porn is harming men in our society, and this person has interpreted that as an attack on Jews. This is an example of clinical insanity. There is no other explanation."
I stand by all of those tweets. Pornography is harming men. We should look into who profits off of pornography. Genocide is always wrong, no matter which country calls for it, whatever. What was controversial about anything that I say now? I'm again wanting you to, these are my crimes. Just imagine 300 people being brought. This is, she said this, and this is what we know. And then he goes into a diatribe about the real meaning of Christ is King. He shows videos of Nick Fuentes. There's nothing to do with me. I'd never even spoken. The only one time I'd spoken ever to Nick Fuentes, and it was pertaining to Kanye. Yeah, that was it. But I'm showing you this because it's important for you to understand that this has never stopped. I want you to imagine if you view yourself to be a slave owner, and that slave not only survives like this public whipping, but then escapes and becomes successful. That's pretty much my relationship with Ben Shapiro since he's fired me, because they have not stopped. They have not stopped. I am talking about people working behind the scenes to call advertisers, attempting to bankrupt me in courts, sending undercover interns to stalk me. He has issued thus far 3 court proceedings, okay, for every solitary petty infraction against things that I say. He's worked with Barry Weiss behind the scenes, had articles written about me. It is non-stop. I refer to this, just to be clear, as legal abuse. It's legal abuse, and I have put up with a lot of it. I have put up with the pettiness of even suing me because I interviewed a USS Liberty survivor who mentioned your name as you pretend that you care about free speech and debate. I put up with a lot of it this day. I draw the line. I draw the line with this miserable imp when it comes to Charlie Kirk. okay? Don't try to learn this. You try to learn this. You are an imposter, Ben. You're an imposter. You pay to pretend that you're friends, that you have a right to be on that stage because you get donors to pressure people, because you know Jewish people who can threaten to take money. When you say, I'm going to do an advertising spend, here's $1 million. I'm sorry you're dead. The entire world knows that you are an imposter. I mean, you're so much of a fraud that essentially what you do is you have people send around clips to grown men to cheer you on, to pretend like the audiences love you. You staff audiences with people that work for YAF who are told to explode into cheers when you hit the stage because you don't have the confidence anymore to go out into the world because you know people see you for what you are.
Damn.
Exactly what you did yesterday. Now listen to what this imposter said as he hit the stage. Charlie Kirk's organization, the one that he built for debate, you have disagreement, and he instructs people here in this speech, Tucker Carlson, right? That's what he's going to do. He wants us deplatformed. He's going to attack me, he's going to attack Tucker Carlson, and he's going to attack Megyn Kelly because she's at the beginning of what these people have put me and Tucker and Charlie Kirk through. Take a listen to a portion of what Ben had to say.
So, if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Ness and Tyler Boyer and yes, at Erika Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA. Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or feeling it out of them. And
This weasel.
When Candace Owens says, I don't know, but I know, that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Well, Ben, when it comes to you and having worked with you, I just know the tactics that you use to feign popularity in the public. I just know the amount of money that you're willing to spend on advertising to inflate your numbers so people think that you're popular. So, yeah, I don't have to say we don't know when it comes to you. You are such a joke of a little man. Your jealousy against Tucker, your ability to believe that you can keep manipulating the markets. You know those kids booed you on that stage. The amount of messages I got from USA people saying what is happening, why is he on the stage, standing against everything that Charlie believed in. That's what you're doing. You're standing against everything that Charlie believed in because you were his friend. He didn't like you. For that very reason, look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. You can see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal-Barit. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords, and that people are not allowed to violate contracts. You will ruin them for years. Fire someone, and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after. I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Price King of Clavin and all of the people, the men, who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud that you know what Ben thinks of you. It doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien, not the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, when he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature, when these belly creatures sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? Open-ended question. Of course, we followed Ben Shapiro on stage, somebody who Charlie Kirk loved very much, who fought for to the very end against the Jewish donors who were pressuring him, some of them because Ben Shapiro is his pet they do. Take a listen to what Tucker Carlson had to say when he hit the stage.
The prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, I really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left, that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point. I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you.
At Duke Energy, we're making South Carolina's energy grid stronger and more resilient, ready for storms and growing energy demands. We're using new innovations and smart technology to restore outages faster, upgrading poles, making targeted improvements, and we're doing it all in cost-efficient ways to keep bills as low as possible while we serve you with cleaner, more reliable energy. Duke Energy, building a smarter energy future.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Then move fast, because Founders is putting you in the driver's seat. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union for a chance to win up to $25,000 towards your qualifying loan and a $5,000 deposit. And the best part, we're choosing...
Shit.
You've heard a lot of it, but it's there.
Damn, I've been doing too much this damn week.
I think all of us need to wake up to this because it's making me absolutely sick. He's so bold. He dare sit near Charlie Kirk's chair, and he dare grace that stage when Charlie Kirk knew exactly what Ben Shapiro was and will always be. So again, on your belly, Ben Shapiro. We'll be back after a brief break. All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion, you know that we have to double down on supporting life through our partnership with Preborn. We can help save babies and support mothers that are in need. Every day, Preborn's clinics rescue hundreds of babies because when a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears that tiny heartbeat,
One
her
second,
chance
y'all.
of
I
choosing
got
life
back.
doubles. And now,
Quick
thanks to the
bathroom
Match
break.
program, your gift will
Will
be
be
doubled as
calmed
well. That
down,
means twice as many
but you
ultrasounds,
will
twice as many
still
lives
be
are
able to
saved,
hear.
twice as many mothers are given hope. We're also given diapers, car seats, counseling, and care for up to 2 years. If you've heard about Preborn before and you've not yet taken action, there is no better time than right now to do so. Their work is some of the most important work to help heal our country. One ultrasound is just $28. Obviously, you can give 10 times that if you're able to. Head to preborn.com/Candace to give. Again, that's preborn.com/Candace. Also reminding you guys about the wellness company, because what if the sore throat and fever that hits you overnight didn't mean that you have to cancel a family trip, miss work, or waste hours at urgent care? Instead, you could just open your medical emergency kit from the wellness company, match your symptoms to the doctor recommended guide, and start treatment immediately. This is not a first aid kit, it's actually sort of a mini urgent care center at your fingertips. Inside, you'll find core prescriptions to treat over 30 conditions like COVID, strep throat, pneumonia, plus more. There's no more waiting rooms or pharmacy lines, just modernized medicine right when you need it. Ordering is simple. At checkout, you just complete a short intake form, and a licensed doctor will review it, fill out your prescriptions, and the kit will arrive to your home in a week. No one wants to be sick during the holidays, so be prepared. Save yourself time and money. The medical emergency kit puts urgent care in your hands. Order your kit now by heading to twc.health/Candace and use code Candace if you want to save up to $45 off plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/Candace and use code Candace at checkout. I should mention also the kits are available to U.S. residents only. And reminding you guys about Tax Network USA, because maybe you owe back taxes, you've not filed your taxes in years. Well, if that's you, then now is the time to resolve those tax matters. The national conversation around abolishing the income tax system, the IRS is fighting back and proving that it's here to stay, by becoming more aggressive than ever before. They're sending out more collection notices, filing more tax liens, and collecting billions more than in recent years. The IRS can take your wages, bank accounts, Social Security, retirement, and even your home. If you owe or haven't filed, it's not a question of if the IRS will act, or rather when they will act. Right now, Tax Network USA is offering a completely free IRS research and discovery call to show you exactly where you stand and what they can stop for you before it's too late. Their powerful programs and strategies can save you thousands or even eliminate your debt entirely if you qualify. So do not make a serious mistake by representing yourself or calling the IRS on your own. Waiving your rights can cost you even more money. They're obviously not on your side. You can get protected the right way with Tax Network USA and start the process of settling your tax matters once and for all. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Candace for your free discovery call with Tax Network USA. Again, that's tnusa.com/Candace. If there is going to be one solitary person who convinces me, who has convinced me that the public is justified in looking into Erika Kirk, it is Ben Shapiro, okay? Didn't like Charlie, you're telling me he's just obsessed with defending the honor of his widow? No, he's fearful. He's fearful of something about Erika Kirk. He just keeps calling out Erika Kirk on stage, demanding allegiance to Erika Kirk. Who are you? Actually, who are you? Why are you in this conversation? Why were you so quick to say that you would pick up his bloody mic and carry on? And didn't you just
What up,
fire
Wolfpack?
half of your force that was involved in Daily Wire Kids, only to then drop $1 million on Charlie's show? Again, weaseling your way into the chair when you weren't invited to go on there, but Matt Walsh was. That's what you do. You wheel and deal behind the scenes. And people think that you're liked. It's embarrassing, really, Ben. It's truly, honestly embarrassing. Why are you not embarrassed to be alive? I don't understand it. Anyways, so
She is ripping Ben Shapiro a new one, and I'm here for
there's
it.
something there, right? The Fort Huachuca thing, it's definitively compelling, I would say. I'm learning also that Fort Huachuca has ties to Liberty University, and that you can attend classes there and achieve your degree at Liberty University. Still working to verify that. Mark Amadi, we're going to get to that. Has come out and really kind of not answered where he was on the morning of the 9th. And as I said, I don't know if we can rely entirely on the memory of one person who believes that he saw these individuals. But what I can say is that we verified 1,000% that he was where he said he was, that there was a meeting where he says there was a meeting. We verified that Blake Death, not Blake Death, pardon me, Captive Death was there, the one that he says was nice, but he got questioned for a very long time and they wanted to hold him for 24 hours. So everything else that people are trying to dig up about Mitch, you can just ignore. If that is a distraction, right, the only way that you can help debunk anything that he has said is to say, oh, actually, I was the person that was there. It wasn't this congressman, it was me. Or I was staying at the Candlewood Inn and Suites and I saw this couple or, these two individuals in the hotel as well, and it was actually somebody else. It was my cousin. We are looking only for somebody to debunk those two aspects, okay? Because he was where he says he was. Everything else we have verified. Ignore the noise and stay focused on that note, because we didn't know that he was going to get attacked by a lot of trolls. And I did tell you to put together a Give Send Go. You can support Mitch at givesendgo.com/Candace podcast. I literally just hit publish on this right before we went live because I realized I hadn't done it. I need to fill out more and a little bit more about his story, but givesendgo.com/Candace podcast to support him. And like I said, I have the paperwork regarding his lawsuits, everything he said about being put on an NDA for 35 years. It is all real. It is all verified.
FY, I'm going to be here a little while tonight.
We verified it all, okay? Now, regarding Fort Huachuca and what it is, who he believes that he saw, we told you obviously that he thought that he saw the congressman from Vegas, Mark Amadei. And I will say, regarding the call sign in Vegas, we keep telling you that call sign at various times says Sam 702 or RCH 702. Well, that's Vegas. 702 is Vegas. Talking just about area codes. Obviously, 702 is Vegas, so that could just be obviously a coincidence, but it becomes compelling. Well, Mark Amadei apparently received a ton of phone calls from his constituents who wanted to know where he was. Like, where were you actually on the morning of the 9th? I want to remind you guys, the meeting was concluding at 7:30. We verified his call logs, we verified everything. The meeting was concluding around 7:30 a.m. in the morning on the 9th on Fort Huachuca, at Fort Huachuca. So it is entirely possible, and as flight routes show for planes that did maybe perhaps were in attendance at this meeting, you can get back to DC. You just can't, obviously, in that time frame. Well, Mark Amadei tweeted this. He tweeted, for those of you information consumers who are stuck in practices of the old days, who prefer facts to dreams and falsehoods, take comfort knowing that in public service there is this thing called public record. Public record on September 8th indicates that I was returning to Washington, D.C. from my district and voting on the floor of the House of Representatives, and on September 9th, in a 12-hour markup in the House Appropriations Committee, of which I am a member, as well as voting on the House floor. Should you prefer video to the words of a member of the federal legislature, please feel free to view the House Appropriations Committee's recording of said event on that date. To quote Ronald Reagan, facts are stubborn things. Merry Christmas. So it's like, whoa, serving up. I was for 12 hours locked into this meeting, and so there I am. There's my alibi. Well, very quickly the interneted and realized that actually he missed two of the roll calls that happened in the morning, and that he was present in the evening or late afternoon. We are still working to verify that. I replied to that feed, but I can tell you what this person posted and showed. Diligent Dennison on X wrote, exposed, Rep. Mark Amadei tries and fails to give a solid alibi for the 11th September 9th meeting with Charlie Kirk's security, Brian Hartful. The rep claims to have been traveling to D.C. from his district on September 8th, then in a committee meeting for 12 hours all day on the 9th. However, he was not present for roll call until the third meeting in mid-afternoon on the 9th in D.C. This means he could have spent the night in Arizona on September 8th, attended the morning meeting on the 9th, and caught a military flight 3 to 4 hours away from the base to make it in time for the third roll call in D.C. I can't believe he tried to act like we were there all day. Cooked at the end there. And they were able to demonstrate, according to record, that he did miss 2 of the roll calls. Now, there might be a reason. Again, we are looking for follow-up, and our goal here is if he has an alibi and he was there on the floor for 12 hours, we would be obviously happy to say that. Like I said, we can confirm every aspect of Mitch's story, but we can't confirm his memory and whether or not he is good with facial recognition. But I do find it to be compelling for a few reasons. One is that I was actually given the travel logs for Brian Harpole, and it is entirely possible that Brian Harpole could have made it for that meeting. I can tell you that definitively. Brian Harpole could have made it to that base for that early morning meeting. There is no question. And obviously, in the interest of making sure that I'm not misrepresenting him, I have now reached out to Brian Harpole twice. I have his number because he was Charlie's security. I went on tour with Charlie for years. Messaged him. I know that he received it according to iMessage. I messaged him again. I messaged him, just so we're clear, before we went live yesterday, and I messaged him again since, and I asked him, hey, look, we're only in the interest in telling the truth. If you were somewhere that morning, let us know, and we'll clarify that. You would think that he would jump at opportunity, because why would you want to have people even thinking or surmising that you could have been at this meeting when you can easily debunk it? We got crickets from him. Again, it could turn out that it was a Brian Harpole lookalike. It is totally plausible that he just mistook someone's identity, and I am totally open to that and just looking for more information. There was one person who we are vetting who believes that they have evidence that the people that Mitch saw were in fact on that base on that date. We will keep you guys obviously posted on that. Now, something else interesting happened. I have been sending, just so you know, when I send Mitch stuff that's happening and I'm trying to guess who was there or who wasn't there, I don't give him the context when I send him pictures. So when he first described the congressman, described the person's height and glasses, this or that, I sent a few congressmen. He was like, no. And then we landed upon the Las Vegas congressman. We did not give him the name. I didn't know his name, to be honest with you. And he went, that's the guy. So it was interesting. Of course, this was before we discovered the planes and the route to Las Vegas, so that was compelling. Yesterday, and genuinely because I was sitting down having a discussion at dinner with Johnny Yep, who runs Catholic for Catholics, and we were discussing everything. And I get this text
Sorry
message
about
from Skylar
that.
being like, Ben Shapiro's like on stage, she's just like calling you out again. I said to myself, what is his investment in this? Why do I feel like he's somewhere along the way implicated in something? Let me clarify about saying he murdered Charlie Kirk, but it doesn't matter if I said that either way. His whole style is to try to sue people out of the free markets because he can't win in the free markets. But yeah, I'm going, what is this? Why do I feel like there's a hook here? And at that time, someone had mentioned to me, hey, did you see what's going viral right now on X? Which is that Erika Kirk lied about having not dated anybody before Charlie Kirk. And actually, I knew that she had dated somebody before Charlie Kirk, and I had never known that she had made that claim, and people were starting to make all of these videos about it, and wondering if she had misremembered, or whether or not she was telling an intentional lie about her past. Now, what I can say is that there does seem to be disparity between her version of events and other people's version of events. Definitively at that meeting, obviously, I've already intimated that to you, like Andrew Colvett has a memory, Erika Kirk has a memory, and then the surgeon has a memory, right? I should also mention that the surgeon said, and again, this is a third-party person, so it's not a direct line between me and the surgeon, that he absolutely did not violate HIPAA when he suggested, hey, maybe it's a frangible bullet, but rather that it was a three-way call with him and Andrew and Erika. I don't know if he's telling the truth or if Erika's telling the truth and Andrew Colvett was flying blind. But there's a disparity. And as I was looking at this, I sort of went, oh wait, yeah, I do remember. Told me about Cabot Phillips dating a girl. For some reason, I thought it was Sammy, the other girl that he had a crush on, and I was like, was it Erika? That's so funny. I'm trying to remember this. And then I saw a picture in somebody's TikTok of Cabot Phillips. I hadn't seen him in a very long time. He works for the Daily Wire, and he had a beard. And that was the thing that he kept saying to me, is this guy had a beard, he's around 37. Anyways, I sent him the picture of Cabot Phillips, and he says, yes, that's the person I remember being at the base. Now I'm like, that would be totally crazy. Maybe again, this could be a lookalike. And so I
This is
messaged
getting
Cabot
weirder and
Phillips
weirder.
and did not get a response. I messaged Cabot Phillips twice today actually and asked if he wanted to have an off-record conversation because we can't just like take that to the bank. Like I said, I am terrible with faces. So if I saw Cabot Phillips, I had to just from memory, there's like 30,000 other people I would say it was definitely him too. And I can't trust Mitch's vision on this, but it at least is compelling. And I was like, let me do some basic fact checks here. What do we even know about this guy, Cabot Phillips? And I know that he does the Morning Wire at the Daily Wire, and I checked, and he's missing from the Morning Wire. He doesn't do it daily, but he does it enough times that I noticed that he is missing from September 4th to September 10th on that show. And so I am looking to see, to just debunk or like remove him from the picture, that and maybe to get a clearer understanding that maybe, you know, Mitch thinks he remembers things. I mean, he's super detail oriented, like telling me what kind of watch the person was wearing because he was like, I was going to go up to him and I was going to say something, and but I'm going, I don't know anything about actually Cabot Phillips. It was very difficult to find any information outside of his father, who I found a lot of information about actually. He's a pretty big guy, you know, taking a lot of money from the Adelsons, and definitely a neocon, I'll tell you that for free. So I thought, could this be the reason that, you know, could this be the reason that Ben's having some sort of a weird spiral? Does he know something? Or is this just a case, and it could be, just be very clear, it could be a full case of Mitch misremembering, but I didn't give him the context. I didn't say this is Erika's ex-boyfriend from 2017. And I just found that to be interesting. And yeah, so I don't know what the reason would be to say that you didn't date someone. You did. And I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand that at all. And the internet did pull this up, which I think we can show that. Yes, we're that couple who gets painting lessons together. There's a lot of social media activity between her and his family. I was also really compelled by how close she is with her cousin, this Nicole Rothstein, who defends her in the comments currently, by the way, and says, you know, Erika, people were asking why it seems like there's this bend towards Israel, and Nicole Rothstein was like, I'm her cousin, she's half Jewish. I did not genuinely, I did know that she was part Jewish. I don't know about any of this at all, but it is interesting that they had a relationship, and I don't know why that's being wiped from the memory. There's nothing wrong with having a relationship before you find love of your life at all. And so I'm hopeful that we can get some answers, and that's why I ask them publicly. When I can't get answers privately, I ask them publicly. Do you want to know why? Because I have a right to ask questions. And like I said, I don't like the way Ben is signaling that he doesn't want people looking into Erika, okay? And when people start looking in, they then find that a Daily Wire employee dated her. So that seems interesting, to say the very least. We should figure out, you know, what's actually going on. Like, what is actually going on? He even says the Mossad. I never once said the Mossad killed Charlie Kirk, so was that by accident? Definitely starting to think in a major way that Israel's got something to do with killing Charlie Kirk. And the Egyptian planes, which we are putting the final touches on, because I don't want there to be even one typo or mistake on this, that we're going to put up on our website.
I don't know.
It leads you to Israel.
It
It just does.
That's how it was.
There's no question. That's why they were panicking about the Egyptian planes. Fort Huachuca is
going to the front
involved
door.
in
Okay.
the lawsuit. At Fort Huachuca, the more known about Fort Huachuca, and that's why we open you guys to this investigation to send us tips. And I would like to focus you on what we would like to learn. If you have concrete evidence of what occurred at Fort Huachuca on the early morning of the 9th, we want to hear from you. We do not want an email about what Mitch did in 1993 and why you don't think he's a good person because he had a divorce with his wife. We just don't need that. We do not want an email saying, I'm in the military, it would be unusual for them to allow him to book the hotel. We've already confirmed all of it. He has a literal video of him that's 18 minutes long, asking for directions to get to where he's going. We can see it.
I'll be right back.
We don't want you to waste your time on that. We have verified everything we could verify about the story. We cannot verify the people, and yeah, I just sense that there's something there. Because Ben is coming undone. He only comes undone about one topic.
Julie, say it again. But say it in a way that people believe.
For me, And I'm ready to get in there. Expect no mercy! If he wants to disrespect me up until the day he gets punched in the face, it's up to him. I don't care. Expect no mercy!
Blink and get more with new 2K Plus Smart Security. With Blink 2K Plus, get set up in minutes to see every detail in crisp 2K video. Get noise cancellation for clearer two-way talk.
Hey!
Okay, perfect timing.
Get wireless power for up to 2 years of battery life. Plus, with smart detection, you always know who's there. Plug in or battery powered. Get Blink 2K Plus and get more with smart security for less.
Like I said, as a consumer, you have the power to make or break companies, and with the money the big wireless guys throw around on advertising, you are inundated with offers everywhere that you look. So from everyone in the Pure Talk family, thank you for your trust, and God bless America. Also remind you guys about American financing, because the Fed has dropped rates for the 4th time. Call American financing today. You could be saving real money every single month. High interest debt is crushing budgets across the country, but homeowners who act now are using their equity to wipe it out. American financing customers are saving an average of $800 a month, with some getting rates in the low 5s, which is a massive difference compared to credit cards charging 20% or more. You can speak with a salary-based mortgage consultant and find out exactly what you qualify for. There are never any upfront fees to find out how much you could be saving. You move quickly, you could even delay 2 mortgage payments, putting cash back in your pocket immediately. So call American Financing today. The sooner you act, the quicker you can save. Call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. That's AmericanFinancing.net/Owens. And of course, you guys know I'm going to tell you about Mimi Skincare, because it's cold outside, December's here, the weather's dry, and if you're like me, your skin is definitely feeling it. This is the time of year we could all use a little extra to help keep our skin moisturized, healthy, and glowing. And you guys already know that I love what Mimi Skincare is doing, especially this Christmas season, because while other brands are tiptoeing around, trying to be inclusive with their happy holiday messaging, Mimi is just decked out for Christmas. It's bright, joyful, it's unapologetic, and I'm obviously here for it. Now, if you are wondering what I'm personally using right now, my skin gets pretty dry in the winter, so I've been using Mimi's Sunshine Tallow Cream, pairing that with their Buzz and Tallow Balm, and my skin has never been softer. There's no dryness, no cracking, there's just rich moisture that lasts all day. And what I love most is that their formulas are clean, simple, and they work. And yes, they make incredible gifts for the women in your life who appreciate great skincare and American-made values. Moms, sister, daughters, grab a few and you will thank me later. Here is the deal. You can use code candace10 and you'll get 10% off your order at NIMIskincare.com. That's NimiSkincare.com. Don't wait. Get your skin the care that it needs this winter. Treat yourself, grab a couple of gifts, and support a brand that actually stands for something this Christmas season. Okay, you guys, reminding you, if you would like to purchase my book for Christmas, you can do so on Amazon now. You just add it to your cart, and you will absolutely love it. It really gets into the history of feminism and who brought the plague to break down families to America. And you can really trace that right back to the same people who assassinated the Tsar, people who believe that they have a right to murder people to take what they want. It's the one philosophy of some religions, certainly not the Christian one. And it's makingasandwich.com if you'd like to buy direct from us, and you can purchase signed copies, which I'll be signing a lot more, directly on candaceowens.com. Good time to mention to you guys that I had a very crazy week, and I'm so sorry that we had to bump book club again. There will not be a book club tonight, and I will be sure to reset one. We just need to figure out with Mark's travel schedule. Mark, Princess. You know what, Mark? I have a question. Where are you going, actually? Where do you think you're going?
I'm going to Fort Huachuca.
Oh. To get your intelligence training. Okay, I got it. Okay. Well, yeah, we also have new merch on the website, by the way. And that is also included a Christmas gift. We have fun merch. And we have new merch that's going to be dropping. It's with you can support the show. And I also want to encourage you guys to support Mitch, because he has people picking apart his entire life. One person was like, was diagnosed with PTSD. Oh, shocking. Like, do you know how many of our veterans are diagnosed with PTSD because of what they lived through in the military? Like, what kind of a monster are you to even pull that up? And it just makes me sick. You can support Mitch, and I will be doing that too. You'll see that I haven't donated yet because I literally hit publish on that right before we went live. But you can support Mitch at givesendgo.com/Candace podcast. And it feels good to be doing stuff stuff from the people to the people, not relying on these traditional modes of
Here you
really
go.
slavery, people that are artificially created in the market and are protected. And what do? They always want people to be removed from the market because they can't compete. If the rules are fair, they would be nowhere. That's the Barry Weisses and Ben Shapiro's of the world. They would be absolutely nowhere. I mean, imagine having your dad babysit you and like write mean comments to people on the internet and you're like 45 years old. Like, what even are we talking about? Okay, top comment from last episode. Stephanie writes, why would this man willingly bring hell on himself if he was not telling the truth? I know, and there's so much more about his story. Like when you start reading what they put him through, it's unbelievable. And again, I think that's why so many veterans who have honestly been through these scenarios with the military just wrote so many beautiful emails. I wish I could share them all with him. Many people, by the way, who completely verified what he said about Fort Huachuca. One person who even said, oh, that year I was actually JTF, and he's absolutely telling the truth because of the horses. That part he talks about, like the horseback riders, and they told me who the general was and insisted that they all learn to ride horses. So he is very much being supported, and we can do this stuff without support from the mainstream media. Let them keep calling us crazy. I'm okay with that. We would only be crazy if we believed anything that they were saying at this point. Unaffected COVID writes, go Max, Candace, go Max. Thank you for that donation. Chance Callahan writes, as a gay Tennessean and OG Candace stan, I have always appreciated your authenticity and intellectual honesty. I used to have to defend my support of you, but that is no longer. The people are waking up and recognizing who and what is fake and gay. Stay safe and thank you. Yeah, the way we try to like diss me on stage and he's like, retarded. The way he says retarded is like he's so effortlessly uncool. That's what I want to say about Ben. He's just like effortlessly uncool. So cringe. 8 Birds writes, all I want for Christmas is justice for Charlie. Here's a Christmas present for you, Candace. Thank you. I am so grateful for you and I pray for you constantly. Keep it up. God is using you in a big way. Thank you. And I feel that way. I feel like all of this is us just breaking the shackles. Like there have just been mental shackles that have been put on us, telling us we have to stay in line, that we have to accept this, that we have to believe in this arbitrary authority. And everyone around the world is waking up to it. Like we are just waking up to how absolutely duped we have become as a society, believing that this system is fair when it's so clearly rigged in our faces. And yeah, I just hope that people feel inspired to similarly go Max and stand up against it. And I don't even care about these lawsuits anymore. I mean, Ben's going to get me a legal letter so fast. I don't care, man. This is your whole, the Pharisees who write the laws, and we got the judges, and blah, blah, blah. We'll put you in a private court and sue you for liking tweets. Like, you heard him on stage. Like, I was, like, literally sued for liking tweets. You know how petty you have to be to even look at somebody's likes? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And then publicly trying to pretend like you care about free speech while you privately sue people who are just trying to leave your company after they're fired. You fired me. Like, let me go. Like, please let me go. Stop telling people you're chosen. You are not chosen to do shit except within the synagogue of Satan. Clearly. Because everything you do is the manufacturing of lies, bullying, getting people to write articles, smearing, libeling. Yeah, it's pretty explicit what kind of people engage in that sort of stuff. So, anyways, let me stop telling you guys how I really feel. Let me stop telling you guys how I really feel. AU Basri writes, damn, let her cook. Nam writes, I might not be rich, but this is for the joy you gave me for calling out Mini Benny out for his Napoleon complex. I haven't had a laugh that good in a while. Thank you, go Max, stay Max. This isn't even the tip of the iceberg in terms of what that man has put me through because I survived. Like, literally, it's like, that's why I say it's a slave owner mentality. It's very obvious that that's what it is. Why are you hosting 300 people to fire someone? What is that? Here's what you did wrong. Here's what you did wrong. And I'm just like the one who doesn't even flinch. Because literally F you. I don't care. Stop. Kanye was right. He was totally right. That's why he burned down his life and said, I'd rather rebuild it than let you own 1 ounce of it. And when you do rebuild it and they don't own it, well, then you get into a scary territory, right? You get into a scary territory because what they are willing to do to take when they can't earn it, it's very scary. History tells us and shows us. A KSI XH writes, they're angry that Candace is intelligent, eloquent, beautiful, and stays beating them at every turn. I'm so glad that you spoke up about the racial element of this. You're a role model to us black women everywhere. Candace, go Max. Yeah, I think black people just gotta learn history, man. You gotta learn what's just minstrel shows, who's behind the minstrel shows, and, you know, the truth behind the Jim Crow laws, and who even learn about the Klansmen and the things that happened, and all they had to do was control our textbooks and keep us all fighting each other. They're out here talking about why the white man has done. Who do you think tried to genocide the white man in Europe, right? Yeah, take a look at that. Keep telling you, watch that PBS documentary that they came after me hardcore for speaking about. What's the savage piece? Yeah, those are your ancestors, guys. Yeah, you are European, like white Europeans. These are your ancestors, and with propaganda, they basically mow the lawn. They get you as white men to sign up and agree to murder white men on the other side of the world. It's white men murdering white men, and for different reasons being propagandized. Wake up. Like, we all need to wake up and lock arms against sheer evil. And the military-industrial complex is sheer evil. And the psychological games they are playing with people, they're playing on people as sheer evil. What Charlie was going through in the end, because of Jewish donors threatening him, I'm going to take everything.
Talk about it, Candace.
Let Tucker speak.
Talk about it.
Is sheer evil. It's despicable. Somebody should apologize for it. Instead, they go, we'll buy our way. And Benny will sit near Charlie's chair and we'll pretend he was his friend. You can just buy everything. We'll buy your compliance. No. Actually, our answer to that is no. Chrissy writes, and that midget horse you wrote in on, LOL, I love you, Candace. And I mean it. Like, really, I mean that. And I know I'm probably most definitely going to have to confess, but I have taken the high road enough, and I'm sick of the lawfare. Stop showing up to my house because you do things to me. Imagine doing something to someone and then demanding they apologize for it. It's totally crazy. And I extended every courtesy, you guys. I extended every courtesy. My husband really said, let's do the Christian thing. But I realized you can't really do the Christian thing with people that hate Christ. It doesn't work. Christian thing doesn't work with people who hate Christ. So, if you're a good Talmudic Jew, as he always says he's a Talmudic Jew, you will understand once you get what's in that Talmud, exactly what he means, exactly what he thinks about you. It's important that you understand that. 7 Sheets writes, what a year. You deserve a break, but we'll be waiting. You deserve Journalist of the Year for just not being by fake and gay. God bless and be safe. Thank you guys so much. Herbster writes, our new motto in Candace's 2028 presidential campaign slogan should be, today is another great day to go Max. It would just be go Max. I would never run for president. I hate everybody that's in DC. I hate their values. I think they are despicable, and how they have acted since Charlie has been assassinated. I hate that they are embarking on this psychological campaign to try to make us believe that what happened that day was normal. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has not made me lose faith in the Lord. And in many ways, I see everything that Charlie wanted. I understand that he knew he was going to die, and I understand that it has to be me that defends him and exposes this entire matrix to the world. So, anyways, you guys, I think I've said enough today. So, we'll see you. Whenever we see you, I will communicate. We might do something next week. I know I owe you guys a book club, but we'll see you soon.
Okay, and that's it for that episode of Candace. A damn good episode, too. Hold on. No, I want to go to the one that she had yesterday.
Magnus Pro was a game changer. It made all of your cables disappear with the world's first integrated power supply column.
Okay, everyone, happy Thursday. I had to tell you that I was laughing so much yesterday because I received a flood of emails from law enforcement officers, military guys that were just like, no way, absolutely not. That's where I draw the line. The bomb dogs missed the gun. Apparently, for people who work with bomb dogs, this is more of an offense to their intelligence than the Man of Steel net. Like, it was just a bridge too far. This is where they are drawing a line in terms of Fed slop. Anyway, we have another unbelievable episode for you guys here today. I thought long and hard about whether to bring on the eyewitness from Fort Huachuca. And I think when we speak to him today, he gives you his testimony, you will, of course, understand why. I am always honored to have any person that serves in our military, especially honored to have him, given all that he has lived through, despite the firestorm that I know that both he and I are about to endure. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, so a couple of things before we get into that interview. I, at the top of the show, first want to tell you about this interesting question that I received yesterday from one of our viewers over on X that I wanted to address. He asked me specifically if I saw black plastic fragmentation over the floor of Charlie's SUV. I was immediately struck by this question because I am not kidding when I tell you that the very first thing that I noticed when I went through those photos of Charlie's SUV, I said to my team, and it looked like there were shards of glass, like tempered glass that you might see if you drop or break an iPhone. It was very distinct to me in the picture from the blood that is all over the seats and all over the floor. I was like, oh, maybe like someone broke a window or something, and then I sort of put it out of my mind. And particularly, I noticed a lot of it spread across that back seat rear floor. So I'm going to show you that, just a couple of photos of that close up so that you can see it, what that looks like, because, yeah, it was just kind of a compelling thing that he noticed something that I noticed, and you can see it was unusual. I think in this person's mind, the line they were going down, I guess the line of questioning that they were going down in their own mind was, is this evidence that something broke on Charlie? Could something have been rigged? And I want to say that we can't necessarily extrapolate that from what we're looking at. It could be 1,000 other things. Somebody could have actually broken a phone in there. Somebody could have had something in there. It could be broken hard candy. I mean, there's a lot going on. And yeah, but I did want to address that because it was interesting that he noted it and asked if we saw little black bits, and we did. I do, but that is visually what I see. I am hesitant, by the way, to put up the rest of the photos, kind of still going through that. I want to be slow on that because obviously I don't want the federal officers, the good guys that are in there who have assisted in this, to be rumbled, right? I don't want people, cash to go on a hunt to figure out who gave us what and people to start getting fired. We need to have the white knights in government. So I just need some time to think about that, and yeah. Anyways, what we can do, however, and what we're starting to formulate now, are just addressing these data points, right? These mysterious circumstances, these things that don't necessarily make sense. What do we actually know about that day? And what's really interesting for me is when I review these data points, I can't fathom how there are people out there right now trying to convince you that there is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson committed this crime. There's no evidence outside of these shady messages that are not even stamped. We don't have a confession from him. We have nothing. Okay, so these are just some data points for you to remember as we go through this. The surgeon never confirmed or even suggested that Charlie was shot with a 30-06 or that Charlie had a steel neck that stopped that bullet. Rather, he suggested throughout the course of the conversation that maybe a frangible bullet was used. The lone confirmed eyewitness that we have that is confirmed to the alleged shooter on Losey Center rooftop before the sound goes off, the sound of the shot rings out, has not been contacted by the lawyers or the investigators on either side of this trial, the pending trial. We are now in the phase where investigators are supposed to go out and be collecting more evidence pending the May probable cause hearing. He still has not been contacted. And why is that crucial? Because this individual is an instructor at a gun range. He claims the weapon that he saw looked more like a .223, quote, something shorter than the one that they found. The person that he observed was wearing what seemed to him to be black tactical gear plus a face mask, and he describes that person as looking like a professional. The bomb dogs were unable to locate the weapon in the field where it was eventually discovered, despite the fact that they had crawled over that area. They just weren't on their game that day. This is not my favorite part of the story. It's just a little, I just didn't expect the reaction to be what it was. I just love the people that are like, no, absolutely, no, we are done with the Fed stuff. And instead, what happened was federal agents directed local officers to the weapon. Lucky feds, lucky feds. The canines were not provided with the scent of the weapon once it was discovered, so they did not then take that weapon and then have the dogs trace it back to the top of Lossie. That did not happen. Terrell Farnsworth, still major question marks. He raced to remove the camera that was directly behind Charlie's head. I want to tell you, by the way, I'm reading myself into this, so not a data point, but in my mind, when I imagine why he might have done that, I think it's because they were going to go with this story that a 30-06 hit Charlie Kirk, and what debunks that obviously would be seen that it didn't go through. There was no evidence of what should have been a tremendous amount of damage done to his neck. I also want to say here, because I've heard that various people like Terrell are getting death threats. Obviously, if you're watching the show, we are investigating what happened with Charlie Kirk.
You got too many lies going on.
People that are engaged in a cover-up. I am never giving anybody the permission to, go be a bandit and go outside and take the law into your own hands. That's not what we should ever be doing and engaging in. Next data point that we have, federal agents prevented the surgeon from returning to his operating room. I told you that was something that startled him, and he placed a call, presumably to DC, to make them move because he wanted, obviously, the team to get back in there to clean it, to make sure that Charlie could get cleaned up before Erika came in. Federal agents removed the hospital surveillance footage. They're on a manhunt. And for some reason, that seems like something that they should do. That strikes me as tremendously odd. We have that the vehicle in which Charlie was transported to Tipanagos Hospital was not impounded by law enforcement. It's very odd. And there were multiple sets of prints on the weapon that was found, something that I did not share with you, but I did know this for some time, and I can confirm this to you, because that's one of their things. They got the prints of Tyler Robinson on this gun. There were multiple sets of prints that were on the gun that was recovered thanks to the instincts of the feds and not the noses of the dogs. And finally, and I think this is a big thing, the footage of Tyler Robinson turning himself in is apparently missing, and I have told you guys, and again, I'm reading myself into this, and in my investigation, I found that their entire story about how the parents turned him in and did the right thing is crap. It is BS. That's not what happened. They were told either, these doors are going to get broken down, or you're going to come in peacefully, and Tyler chose the latter. I also was told by police officers that were there when he came into the police that they were told not to look at him. They were told to avoid cameras. Very strange things that happened when he did eventually come in, and we won't know how strange because apparently the footage is missing. According to local Utah news, they didn't say a FOIA, there's another term, was a gamma requested for that footage, and we're basically told, well, now there's been an expiration on that footage and we don't have it. So maybe they just mean they already handed it over to investigators, I don't know, but we will wait and see. That's a lot that is going on. I'm going to pivot now because our instincts, which they keep mocking us over, I think are on the money. We're going to talk now about Christianity. Christianity, I'm putting that in quotation marks because it has been on this podcast a recurring theme, right? I keep sensing, A, that these pastors are dangerous, right? I covered extensively how even just amongst the Calvary Chapel, in particular, there's just way too much of a habit of establishing former pedophiles and drug traffickers as lead pastors of churches. Okay, I'm not saying that people can't find God. I'm just saying that my preference would be that they maybe not be provided with access to children, right? If you committed a crime against a child. This is a preference that I guess is not, or perhaps is in conflict with the beliefs and the preferences of Rob McCoy, who makes my skin crawl, who showed you that interview that he did with somebody who apparently went on a rampage. He actually went to prison for it, and he was just applauded to children. I feel that is very wrong. Hi, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay, and they want a delectable squeeze up? I'm excited to share. You'll know. Deliciously delectable delectables. Squeeze up.
When it matters most, George C. Gentry Lawyers delivers results.
Dang, I couldn't see.
They got me $1.5 million.
Go with the name you know and trust.
On the line, 9999999.
Carrie's part-time MBA program gave me the flexibility to manage my full-time job and my personal life. I really truly felt I was able to excel in my coursework, excel at work.
Quote-unquote Christian influencers, something's not right. A lot of women who seem to know their Bibles for almost the implicit and explicit aim of socially engineering the population, right? Telling you, oh, it's right here in the Bible. Same with the pastors. God doesn't want you to follow Tucker Carlson on Instagram. Josh Hammer is amazing. Candace is possessed by a demon. You don't want to be possessed by a demon, so unfollow Tucker Carlson and unfollow Candace. And I promise there's no other motivations. Candace is just crazy. You should listen to me. Similarly, there are so many conservative media companies who are run by former military intelligence, people that lead naval intelligence, people that lead the Mossad. Suddenly their aim is to speak about Judeo-Christian values. They find God after they leave the military. I'm not saying that that's impossible. I'm just saying that this is something that we have discussed a lot on this podcast. I have been suggesting to you all that faith has been infiltrated by the military. And people laughed. They laughed. Well, you guys didn't laugh, but oh, what do you mean by that? Well, you guys pull up a chair because it's about to get even more interesting. Fort Huachuca, as many of you in the military have informed me, is actually an intelligence base. Now, for those of you who are ignorant like me regarding the structure of the military, this is an important distinction to make in your mind, because when we think about military bases, at least to me, maybe you can, you have the same mindset. I tend to think about where they're scrambling off the planes, off of an air base, if there's an attack, right? Oh, quickly jump into your planes and get into the air, or maybe get into the sea. It just requires an immediate response. But that is not what Fort Huachuca in Arizona is, okay? It is a hub for intelligence training. Civilians can be turned into intelligence assets on this base. They can take courses to join the intelligence community, okay? Just giving you one example of an email that I got, quote, just FYI, Fort Huachuca is where soldiers go for their MIT courses. That is Army Military Intelligence. Once a soldier has finished basic training, they go here for their advanced training for their actual job in Army Military Intelligence, end quote. Okay, now, among the many emails that I received regarding what sort of intelligence courses take place, I was absolutely floored when a person who grew up and lives just outside of the base in Sierra Vista told me something. I'm going to recount the story to you, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of this so that I protect their identity. Basically, their story begins in May of 2013. They are two recently baptized Christians. Like I said, they grew up in this area, Sierra Vista, and they decided they were going to pour their savings into starting a gym. Now, of course, because it's a gym that's located off base, they had a lot of clientele who happened to be associated with the base. And one such client was a woman that they met, a couple that they met, that were on fire for the Lord, right? That couple made a sizable investment in their gym and became, quote unquote, founding members, okay? So the gym owners were drawn to this couple because they were so bold in their faith. They were like, I loved the bold proclamation of their faith, and we thought this is great, this is going to work. They accept money from them. So you can imagine that they were then completely surprised and shocked when this couple, over time, effectively staged something akin to a hostile takeover of their company, undermining them while pretending to be their friends, going behind their backs, propositioning other gym members. I'm going to be clear here. This is obviously allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly here. The couple almost lost everything in the process, and they had to start all over again. Now, what was once the fastest growing gym in Sierra Vista, suddenly they were forced to relocate and downsize their company entirely. So now it's 2015. They are in their new, smaller location of a gym, and I'm going to read this next portion of the email that I received verbatim. Again, allegedly, because he names an individual who I do not know. I've never heard of this individual, but I feel it is relevant because I'd like to learn more. The email continues, quote, "We were struggling, sometimes barely making rent, but still serving the community, including military students who came through for 4 to 6 month training courses." Okay, I'm going to stress that again. Got all these students that are coming in, and their training is lasting between 4 to 6 months. They're signing up for this gym. Back into the quotation. One morning, I noticed a female military member lingering after class. She was visibly distressed, so I kept the gym open longer than usual to give her space to talk. We ended up conversing for about 45 minutes, and what she shared with me has stuck with me ever since. She said she, quote, could not take it anymore. When I asked for details, she explained that her stress was coming from a class that she was taking on Fort Huachuca, taught by none other than Bruce Bevins. My ears perked up when I heard his name, as I immediately remembered the incident with his wife. This young woman described Bruce as, quote, the most evil man that she had ever met. She then revealed something that I wasn't expecting at all. The class's objective was to teach military personnel to infiltrate Christian groups and organizations through covert psychological operations. The training focused specifically on deceiving Christians. Our gym was and still is an openly Christian faith-based organization, but looking back now, I have to wonder if the infiltration and the destruction of our gym was actually a training exercise or field assignment. I also wonder if the distressed young soldier was sent to our gym on assignment from Bruce, but couldn't follow through with her objectives and instead chose to confide in me. There were other students who will corroborate this type of training, 2 military students, both named blank and blank, I'm redacting that, passed through our gym during this same period. They shared similar stories but seemed much more advanced in their training. On one occasion, after I asked what was so funny in the back of my class, they privately shared that they had just returned from an overnight field training mission with very little sleep. Their objective had been to deceive civilians in Tucson, about an hour north of us. They practiced at local bars and public venues on unsuspecting people, telling lies, remembering those lies, and maintaining their false personas without, quote-unquote, breaking character. They laughed about their conquests while working out at our gym. Now, I got the impression that their deception sometimes extended to sexual encounters with their targets. At the time, I found this disturbing, but I did not know what to make of it. Now, 12 years later, and watching the situation unfold with Charlie Kirk and learning that some of his most trusted people may have been trained operatives who infiltrated Turning Point USA, these memories suddenly seem significant. You mentioned previously that there was a strange military background connection among some of the people involved. I am now wondering if instructors like Bruce Bevins trained some of these individuals before they infiltrated Christian organizations like Turning Point USA. End quote. Now, I obviously cannot confirm just yet. I'm sure after the show we're going to get a bunch of emails, the allegations against Bruce. Again, I have never heard of this individual. What I can say to you is, on a guttural level, I feel this is accurate. I do. It is what I've noticed, it's what I've been pointing to all year. Many of these pastors are behaving like operatives, and many of these Christian influencers are behaving like operatives, and I keep telling you that all others, including the Egyptian, here, Israeli, planes, lead to the front door of Turning Point USA. upset. It was something when they suddenly infiltrated and something happened to this organization. And I feel this email is a big piece of the puzzle. Okay? So if you played a part in these exercises on Fort Huachuca base where you were learning instructions about how to be a good little Christian to infiltrate and potentially overthrow a Christian organization, and maybe you're having some second thoughts about your soul and you'd like to speak to me about it off record, please email moretips@candaceowens.com. And I would also like you all to remember that we suddenly have been experiencing wall-to-wall panic ever since we mentioned Fort Huachuca. You saw this. It's I mean, the articles right now are unhinged. They are just doing fiction. The panic button was pressed when we mentioned Fort Huachuca in the alleged meeting that happened on the morning of September 9th. So, we're going to get into that. By the way, for those of you that thought that this person was making it up, he was apparently not familiar with metadata. I don't think he was, and he had not sent me the photos that he took that morning on the base. So he tells a story. I stepped outside, I got coffee. Well, because he thought he was going to write, and I'm laughing here, going to right the wrong of his past, he was sort of documenting himself while he was on the base. So he sends me over all of his stuff, and I literally was able to confirm with the metadata where he was, exactly what time it was, and see the backgrounds, obviously. And it's just a fact, okay? It's just a fact that this happened. He was there. I was also able to establish it because now this is beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, when we get back after this brief break from our sponsors, we are going to bring on, and this is his new name, Mitch. I told you about who he believes he stumbled upon in that meeting, and I think that we need to focus on that. And you may learn more. I know I certainly did. We'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion, you know that we have to double down on supporting life. Through our partnership with Preborn, we can help save babies and support mothers in need. Every day, Preborn's clinics rescue hundreds of babies because when a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears that tiny heartbeat, her chance at choosing life doubles. And now, thanks to a generous match program, your gift will be doubled as well. That means twice as many ultrasounds, twice as many lives saved, and twice as many mothers who are given hope. Diapers, car seats, counseling, plus care up to 2 years. If you've heard about Preborn before, but you've not yet taken action, there is no better time to do so than right now. Their work is some of the most important work to help heal our country. One ultrasound is just $28, but you can obviously give 10 times that if you can afford to. Head to preborn.com/Candace to give. Again, that's preborn.com/Candace. I also want to tell you guys about the Wellness Company, because what if the sore throat and fever that hit you overnight did not mean that you had to cancel a family trip, miss work, or waste hours at urgent care? Instead, you could just open your medical emergency kit from the Wellness Company, match your symptoms to the doctor-recommended guide, and start treatment immediately. This is not a first aid kit. It is a mini urgent care center right at your fingertips. Inside, you'll find core prescriptions to treat over 30 conditions like COVID, strep throat, pneumonia, plus more. So there's no more waiting rooms or pharmacy lines, just modernized medicine right when you need it. Ordering is simple. At checkout, you can complete a short intake form, and a licensed doctor will review it, fill your prescriptions, and the kit will arrive to your home within a week. No one wants to be sick during the holidays. Be prepared. Save yourself time and money. Medical Emergency Kit puts urgent care in your hands. Order your kit now by heading to twc.health/Candace, and be sure to use code Candace to save up to $45 off, plus free shipping. That's twc.health/Candace, and use code Candace at checkout. Kits are available, I should tell you, to U.S. residents only. Also want to tell you guys about Tax Network USA, because you might owe back taxes, maybe you've not filed in years. Well, now is the time to resolve your tax matters. With the national conversation around abolishing the income tax system, the IRS is fighting back and proving that it's here to stay by becoming more aggressive than they've ever been. They're sending out more collection notices, they're filing more tax liens, and collecting billions more than they had in recent years. The IRS can take your wages, bank accounts, Social Security, retirement, and even your home. If you owe or you haven't filed, it's not a question of if the IRS will act, but when. Right now, Tax Network USA is offering a completely free IRS research and discovery call to show you exactly where you stand and what they can stop before it's too late. Their powerful programs and strategies can save you thousands or even eliminate your debt entirely if you qualify. Don't make a serious mistake by representing yourself or calling the IRS on your own. Believing your rights can cost you
Come on,
more money. They
Candace.
are not on your side, obviously. Get protected the right way with Tax Network USA. Start the process of settling your tax burden once and for all. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Candace for your...
There we go.
A hot sub you dip into hot au jus? Firefighter approved.
It's 12 hours deep into the night shift. You're literally holding a life in your hands. Your focus steady. Your touch precise.
My name is Sam. I'm the owner of Auto Knowledge Motor Service. Here at Auto Knowledge, we always recommend Bosch Evo spark plugs. I had a customer come in with a gasoline turbocharged direct injection engine, so I recommended Bosch Evo spark plug.
It's wonderful to be here, Candace. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I obviously, you know the story of how I instantly got the email from one of your friends that just said, you should call Mitch after I prayed and said, I'm missing a piece of this, please, God, give me a piece of the story. And the first email I see when I get back from church on a day of holy obligation is this email. And so, Mitch, my audience is up to date on what happened to you when you were 20 years old. And I'm wondering if you can just sort of briefly recap in case I got some things wrong.
Oh, wow. Briefly recap 35 years. Sure. Yeah, we were part of a mission going down to the border with JTF 6, assigned from 10th Mountain. Previously, there had been a Marine Corps unit there. Apparently, they had an incident, and we had to replace them. They wanted a less kinetic unit to be involved. So we went down there in a matter of a few days. You know, I was the youngest guy on the team, and for the first few days, I got assigned to have to, you know, do the hard work of putting in the sensors and following one of the border patrol who was on horseback. Got to learn a little bit about picking up signs in the desert, stuff like that, while we were placing these sensors down. It took a few days. I think we put in like 8 sensors or so along the border, and we were getting some, they thought it was some glitchy signals coming back. Being that I had just gone through the course, I had the most updated information, and what we realized is they weren't glitch signals that these people were being sent out for. It was subterranean, and when I got pulled back to the JTF 6 headquarters, they were in discussions of trying to remove the Army. In case your viewers don't understand, when units get put together like this, especially this mission, there's a lot of contention even to this day between the Army and Border Patrol and who gets to take credit, and who gets to stay, who gets to go. And back then, Border Patrol, I think they just wanted us out of their hair. So they were having some sort of a big meeting, and a big do not disturb meeting. And I got assigned to the skeleton crew to sit back on the SMS, the receiver. And I was looking at the data while the skeleton crew of the Border Patrol was left there with me as well. And he was giving me a bad time about the Army equipment, how they were being sent out for no reason. He kept giving me a bad time about it, so we were looking at the data and we started discussing things, and I brought up the fact that, you know, I asked if there was any subways or something like that around, and between the two of us, the light bulb went on. That it was an underground tunnel, and within minutes we could triangulate the signals and be able to pinpoint the location. And that's the information I got to hand off. So no, I didn't, go on the raid itself. handing that information off was the probable cause they needed to be able to go get a warrant, go to the location, and also communicate with the Mexican to perform a raid. And yeah, that's what happened.
Now, you're thinking, amazing, we have found the biggest cartel tunnel. There had never been one bigger previously discovered, I presume. Maybe there had been, and there, I don't know, I'm going to become a hero. Maybe you're thinking, this is going to be great. And the exact opposite thing is true, and it's because they eventually find pictures of, well, was it an American lieutenant colonel? Who exactly? Sorry, I know you told me this. Was it a colonel?
One of the commanders that was with the Border Patrol was actually posed with a photo that was found on the Mexican side. Along with other Mexican military and U.S. military. So there had been some collaboration. Prior to us getting there, there had been a lot of suspicion that the federal government knew that 80%, I think it was 60 to 80% of the cocaine was coming through the Douglas, Arizona area. That's basically Region 6, or that's why they called it JTF 6. So they knew all the cocaine's coming through this one area. But the local authorities back then, came up with shrugs like, oh, we just don't see where it's coming from. So they suspected there was some compromise of officials down there. So yeah, we went to work, and it didn't take us long to pinpoint this. So when they recovered that data and they recovered the photos, obviously they had some of the top names of who was helping out on the U.S. side to help build the tunnel and also keep it functioning for at least 6 months, judging by the date of the photo.
Damn, okay.
So,
That's
I wanted to
interesting.
ask you, your attachment to, I'm trying to figure out why you're going to then go back to Fort Huachuca. Is that where you were initially trained?
Yeah, I was. Yes.
Okay, so you were initially trained at Fort Huachuca, but then ends up happening is they put you basically, you're not allowed to talk. You just get gagged for, is it 25 years the gag order lasted, while they destroyed every layer of your life, fed your name to the cartels, you've been on the run, you've had to change your name, your family is now in debt, you've been fighting lawsuits, trying to get the government to, I guess, defend you against the cartel gangs, and clearly they're angry because you stepped on their toes, it looks like. I think that's a fair depiction of what happened here, which we are learning more and more how corrupt, and I think the CIA was created to traffic, to be clear. That's my opinion there. But they effectively destroyed your life and gagged you in the process. Is that a fair assessment of what happens next?
Yeah, it is. I could probably go into some detail that while we were down there, I got the honor of incinerating all the. It was about a ton of cocaine and a bunch of guns, a bunch of money. And then right afterward, we went right back to work.
Damn, y'all incinerated the money?
With a friend at Noka, Arizona. Not a friend, but another Border Patrol agent. And if it wasn't for him, I was too stupid. I didn't understand why this person was coming up or why they had personal information on me. I was a young kid. It was the Border Patrol agent that caught what it was about. And yeah, thank God. He knew what to do. Took me back to base, and they thought it was, something I did to give away my identity. So I was on base for, it was the next day that I got brought into a briefing. And by that time, the photos from the Mexican side had made their way to the American side, and they were able to put together how my information got fed to the other side. As far as cartels and stuff like that, it's just plain corruption at this point. It's thick. And yeah, they have followed me. I've had people come through my windows, and it's not like, I know it's like fantastical stories. We got the court documents, we got the court cases. It's not just that we have those. It's that the work that was done to even try to bury those afterward is pretty substantial. And yeah, I've got 20 years of this, and you think, one would think that somebody in the federal government would care, or in any part of our government would care. The more I've done up the chain to try and, get more of these records, as well as get answers to this saga, it just seems like I step on more and more toes. And eventually, that's what led me going down to Fort Huachuca, was just to get the original records and find out, why wasn't the FBI updated as to what my status was, and, why has this been allowed to, basically use our own laws against me to attack my life. I wanted answers.
I would think when I hear the story, it makes me so angry because it's just too many people that are serving.
I'm gonna try to speed this up soon.
Colonel's there, and the unit sergeant mate.
Introducing the X-Tool Apparel Printer. It's the all-in-one solution for your apparel printing needs.
Colonel's there, and the unit sergeant mate escorted them out. They got into one of the GSA's. For anybody in the military that knows about GSA, they own everything in the government.
Sorry, and for those of us who don't know about this GSA, just to break it down for us, I'm sorry to be so ignorant. What does that stand for?
No. What was Government Services Administration, or
okay.
I forget what it is.
No worries.
What they basically maintain all the property for the U.S. for the federal government.
Okay.
So if you're in the military or if you're in the federal government and you need a vehicle, basically you go to one of the GSA places, and it's like renting a vehicle at Enterprise or something, but you have orders attached to it.
Basically, he's saying the government's BSing you. There you go. I want to get into this little bit of what Lovely T has. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. What Lovely T said on the whole Candace and
have some great numbers.
thing.
He's gone up against the defense that's allowed just.
One second. If I can find it. Sorry, I was just taking me a bit of time. There we go. This is what I want right here. And I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'm at least gonna play enough of it.
Magnus Pro was a game changer. It made all of your cables disappear with the world's first integrated power supply column.
You ready? No, you're ready. Yes, you're ready.
Hey, Tea Sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So it is a lot going on right now. I just got back yesterday from San Francisco. I was out in the Bay Area. Over the weekend, it was like negative 10 degrees in Minnesota, so I had flew out. I just needed to go somewhere a little bit warmer. So I ended up going out there. I had a pretty decent time out there, but I would definitely be back. It's so much to see and do out there. But when I came back yesterday, I was getting a lot of messages, people wanting me to talk about the whole Candace Owens meeting with Erika Kirk and how I felt about her live stream and everything else. So if you guys remember, before I left, I did a live stream about Candace Owens and Tim Pool getting into it, and then Erika Kirk going on this hobo widow tour with Barry White and, you know, Fox News and wherever else the hell she went. And so it basically was all on Candace because Candace has come up with all these conspiracy theories as to how Turning Point USA and everyone involved somehow had to do with Charlie Kirk's death. So I talked about this last week, and so we were all waiting for the Turning Point stream where they were going to talk about Candace and address all of this stuff because Candace refused to meet with Turning Point USA. She claimed she was going to live stream their live stream. Then she comes out and says that she's going to meet with Erika Kirk, which I found very interesting because a lot of her fans were making excuses. Oh, she can't go to Turning Point. It's the holidays. She has small children and all this and that. But somehow, miraculously, she was able to clear her schedule to go meet with Erika Kirk the same day that the Turning Point USA live stream was supposed to happen. So, again, a lot of stuff went down. Let me go ahead and play you guys this small montage of Candace Owens and her demeanor before the meeting. And then we're going to go ahead and watch some of her live stream after the said meeting, okay?
He was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered.
Andrew Colbett's the person who received a text message from Charlie Kirk saying they're going to kill me.
He wrote me this. Please pray for me. Quote, I know they want me dead.
I've seen the autopsy report.
He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
I wouldn't want to be you and be caught up in lying right now. And I want to get on the Egyptian plane thing. Not Charlie, but Erika was the one being tracked by these planes. 68 overlaps with Erika's documented locations. All those places they said I've traveled, I've never been. These are all of the instances. You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane while I'm wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? No. Oh, Erika Kirk shuts down. Look at Snow. She didn't even respond. Stop. I forgive him. I could have never forgiven Tyler Robinson. I don't even think his person killed Charlie Kirk.
You think they caught your husband's killer?
I trust our team. They were like back on their feet the next day.
So many amazing things down the pipeline. I am so excited.
Watching these snakes.
Everyone cleans differently.
He said, if I tell you the true prophecy that I know in my gut, I am not sure if I will live to see the end of this revolution.
He didn't say that.
I believe you were the piece that God meant me to meet that will finish the fight.
This is not okay. It's not healthy.
The moment that Charlie got shot, I just was betrayed.
My message to them is to stop. To stop.
I will be an enemy of you.
Y'all just watched that montage and you guys see how Candace was so bold, you know, direct eye contact with the camera. I have receipts. Oh, 68 planes. I mean, she's had a lot to say over the past 3 months. Like I told y'all from day one, I don't watch Candace. I'm not interested in her show. We'll get on that topic a little bit later. But what I've watched is the clips and different things that have gone viral. But since Charlie's death 3 months ago, she has literally done a live stream every day concerning the conspiracies about Charlie Kirk, which has had all of her fans and people who became fans of hers. Okay, this has been like some type of soap opera over the past 3 months of people just wanting to supposedly get to the truth, right? And Candace is like the beacon of light that's going to expose all of the truth to what happened to Charlie Kirk's death. Then she meets with Erika Kirk, and her disposition and her demeanor has all of a sudden done an about face. And her audience is dragging her. The comment section is lit up. They're going in. They're not feeling her response at all. What I find very interesting to me is why wasn't this filmed?
You don't find that suspicious?
Talk about it.
You don't find that
Why was it not filmed?
Initially, Turning Point USA wanted her to come on the platform. You know, why are we just hearing Candace's side? Who knows if Erika Kirk is going to end up speaking, but they had a 4-hour meeting behind closed doors. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of Candace's live stream right now.
Okay, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. Just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody back at home. Happy Hanukkah to our greatest friends and allies. And
she's trying to be funny by saying Shabbat Shalom. Girl, just get to the point. We don't care.
You know, this is a good time to mention that Israel does have a right to defend itself. Tucker Carlson is Adolf Hitler. And TikTok does need to be purchased by the Mossad. It's just how I'm feeling today. I am not different. Maybe you are different. Welcome back to Canada.
Now, I've never watched her show, so I don't know if this is her theme song, but it sounds like Hava Nagila. So it's almost like she's trying to joke because she knows she's getting ready to drop no real tea for her audience. So she's trying to hype it up only for there to be a huge letdown.
Okay, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive, we had a very productive conversation, and they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Well, Erika said, stop, and then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like, as I just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happens. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized it can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, I get this. Nobody is changing their mind anything. Well, how ridiculous would it have been if I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erika Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I can't betray you. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes, there were no rules. They said you could ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Stripe. Justin Stripe was in the room. Which is Justin Stripe and Erika. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was at a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, you know, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing there. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of...
It's funny that she knows to bring her so-called ghetto black cousin with the attitude, Mia, you know, who listens to Cardi B, again, trying to differentiate herself from the other blacks. She didn't just say about my cousin, it's the cousin with the attitude who listens to Cardi B. Because I got to bring the hood booger cousin with me in case some shit pops off, but I still want to act like I'm demure and classy in front of my white audience. So in case some shit pops off, the ghetto hood cousin is with me. She's such a clown. Let's continue.
Kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table it was really just the four of us. until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erika's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justice Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? What is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with what I, obviously a bit of a fever pitch, but I tweeted that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers, and there were so many lies, and then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack.
So, let me come on this screen real quick. So this just goes to show, like I always tell y'all, follow the money trail. Erika Kirk is upset because Candace told all of the people on social media to stop donating to Turning Point USA and to ask for refunds, which affected their bottom line. Candace is saying that, you know, she was quick to anger, she shouldn't have done that, because, again, it's about the money. This is a grift on both sides, okay? My thing is, if you feel so passionately that Turning Point USA is this corrupt organization, why would you take that back? Why would you give a fuck if they're bleeding money, if people were requesting their money back, if that's really how you felt? So the fact that she's
It's a two-sided grift.
And say that she shouldn't have said that tells me everything I need to know. This was not a meeting of the minds. This was a meeting of the grifters, okay?
Yep.
This is about Turning Point USA.
Talk about it.
Losing money. And, you know, Candace has been making tons of money peddling this conspiracy, but she understands the conspiracy can only go so far, especially when the mainstream media is deeming her as being disrespectful to Charlie Kirk's widow, and the mainstream media, Fox News, and people who really have power to shut her down, they're on her heels, and she feels that coming, especially with Barry Weiss getting involved. So now she's trying to come to a happy medium with Turning Point USA and Erika Kirk.
Ding, 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 ding. Talk about it.
Like I always say, follow the money trail. It's very
damn right, follow the money.
Conversation starts with the money. Let's continue.
I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erika did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Look, this is a company with 650 people that are employed. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional, and they are communicating, and no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume that this communication has come down from management, and that's not always the circumstance. But they owned right away, which felt great, that, if you guys recall, Erika sat down with Glenn Beck. I actually missed this portion. I didn't get to watch the interview in its entirety. We were pulling clips. There was lots coming out very quickly. But there was a portion that was going around that was viral, and it was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday, Jimmy Dore's show, and I clarified. I said Andrew Colbert told me specifically that he was one of the people that received this text message. So I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colbert. And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications said that Dan Flood similarly received a text message. They owned that right away and explained. Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages, And it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal, he communicates on Telegram, and that when she heard me say that, they then went and looked, and yes, that what I said was true. And Krakova received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now they ask.
Okay. Objection. This makes no sense, okay? Because it just sounds like she's believing everything that Erika Kirk is telling her. When somebody passes away and you have access to their phone, you scour, you go through everything of their phone, okay? I've had close friends whose children have passed away here in the Twin Cities. You're going to go through every part of their phone, from their WhatsApp to their Twitter to their social media to their chat GPT, because you want to know, what were their final thoughts, who were they talking to, what was going on, where was their mind at. So for her to have this phone for months from the FBI, but she never thought to go through his Signal, she never thought to go through his WhatsApp, that doesn't make any sense. And the fact that Candace is talking, well, she always talks fast, and I've already clocked that years ago. She talks super fast and, to throw people off, right? But the fact that she's just skimming past that and there was no pushback, to me makes no sense. And then the way she's darting her eyes, she's not really focusing as much on the camera like she usually does when she's intensely talking about something. It leaves a lot to be desired, okay? But let's continue.
Asked me if I had
Hi, let's get started. Let me share my screen. Okay, they want a delectable squeeze up? I'm excited. You'll know. Deliciously delectable squeeze up.
At Duke Energy, we're making South Carolina's energy grid stronger and more resilient, ready for storms and growing energy demands. We're using new innovations and smart technology to restore outages faster, upgrading poles, making targeted improvements, and we're doing it all in cost-efficient ways to keep bills as low as possible while we serve you with cleaner, more reliable energy. Duke Energy, building a smarter energy future.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up, sir. It's an unusual name.
actually like concrete a copy of what Dan Flood got the night before, and I said no. Somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who the they that he was referring to were, but they clarified that the message that Dan Flood received said the left is going to kill me. So I can't confirm that one or the other. I trust them on that because I did not see that concrete message. I was told that it said they. Now, obviously, we discussed the moment, and I'm laughing here because you TikTokers are actually out of control. You guys are going to be the reason that Israel gets TikTok, because you guys are acting a fool all the time. And the videos were so hilarious of you guys mocking the Barry Weiss interview. It's great. It's good to laugh at ourselves. And Barry Weiss is always worth laughing at.
But why is that funny? Like, why do you find the fact that Israel has bought TikTok, to a lot of Zionists who own it now, why is that funny? Is that a dog whistle? Do you know what's coming down the pipeline with TikTok? I just find that very interesting. Are you trying to dog whistle and make it where people stop making videos about you because you know everything that you're saying in this so-called breakdown is bullshit? But let's continue.
But I was sort of like, hey, I felt name-checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erika say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually learning things, and that I think she similarly felt that Barry Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Barry Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. She's trying to right perceived wrongs because I'm against her side. That does not surprise me. That's kind of why Barry Weiss exists. That's the reason they put her at CBS, is because she's just committed to stacking the audience with people that are going to present the pro-Israel cause, and talk about anti-Semitism, and talk about like crime being on the rise is kind of embarrassment, but I actually do accept that, and I should also clarify that Barry Weiss obviously picked those questions. They were not random, like I told you. It wasn't like people were coming to the mic and it was an open mic and they didn't know what they were going to get. It was all very much planned by Barry, but Erika said that she knew the general idea, but they were going to mention me and mention the conspiracies, but she was not given that specific, the podcaster, Candace Owens, question. So I think that's very clear that up. Now, I did not at all recant any of my about particular people at Turning Point USA. I communicated what I communicated in front of the...
Look at her eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. Look how her eyes keep darting because she's trying to think of, you know what I'm saying, a way to lie but not lie. If you guys are catching my meaning. I've never seen her eyes dart this much.
The whole world. My skin crawled after I spoke to Terrell Barnsworth, the person who took the cameras down. He lied to me several times. I explained to them, which felt good to have that direct communication, how Terrell lied multiple times, and that I did not understand why he was there that day. They echoed what he said. They defended what he said, that they were trying something new that day, that they typically live stream, which is what Terrell said. They typically live stream, and I said every college event. Well, they said, well, yeah, they live stream the events that are tour stops, but they don't live stream like the outside prove me wrong type events. And that was something that was new, and it required Terrell. And I said, even if that was all real, if that was all true, I still didn't feel good about the conversation that I had with Terrell, and I can't ignore my gut about the many little lies that he told. I thought the video he recorded was weird. I know he comes from a very powerful family. I personally do not trust him, and I obviously do not like the fact that...
Isn't it funny that she's always talking about somebody else coming from a powerful family, as if she's not married into the farmer family, who are also a very powerful family, you know what I'm saying, overseas. They're European, British. Okay, she's married to a billionaire, but she talks as if she's just your average round-the-way, you know, black girl still from Connecticut. You too are involved with a very powerful family, okay? So don't act like you're above this. You're not any of these same people that you're trying to call out.
I said, you know, Tyler Boyer lied about this thing and said, came up with an excuse and said, well, Terrell was asked to take the camera down. That's the reason, he said on Twitter, because the police wanted him to take it down and secure the footage. And I said, I know that's not true. And they said, well, after all of that, yeah, after he took the cameras down, there was a police officer or Fed, whoever it was, that spoke to him and asked him to secure the footage. Well, that makes sense, but it's not a reason for why he took it down immediately. It makes sense that as you're investigating, you're going to say, who's got the footage? You know, let's lock it down. But it didn't make sense to me that Tyler Boyer lied about it. And I don't trust Tyler Boyer, and that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy. He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person, and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that. I was surprised to learn, and this kind of gets into, I guess, us not knowing the inner workings at Turning Point USA, that Rob McCoy actually does not work with Turning Point USA in any capacity whatsoever. And so him communicating as he has done, like, I'm the pastor, I'm this, I'm that, it's just not real. But that is not real. And we should know that that's not real, and when he says that, call him out on that.
Bottom line, everybody's lying.
I was operating under the assumption that he worked for Turning Point USA, and I said, if obviously that's wrong, I'm happy to correct that. But also, what were we to assume when he hit the stage at Memorial and said, I'm America's pastor, and then had the Wikipedia updated and said, well, I'm assuming he had it updated, because who else would do that he started Turning Point USA Faith. So, I guess, to be clear, we were just wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and where I believe he fits into a lot of things. So I'm not letting up on that. Now, one piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. Okay? Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage, there was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was. 30 on 6. Very very quickly what happens is Andrew Colbert whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet, and he said he wanted to address all the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize, it's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen are these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it, this miracle. His bone was so healthy, I want to read it. This is allegedly from the surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, that kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said, this individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colbert replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon, but that they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So, like, it very much came across to me like Andrew was just flying.
I call BS. I'm sorry. I got called BS.
And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing the surgeon should say is, I can't speak to you. I don't even know, in theory, Andrew wasn't even there when Charlie died. I don't even know why the surgeon even knows this guy, actually. Maybe he hung around after, but, you know, Andrew was not one of the people that got to the hospital like that. So this is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon, and so that just seems very inappropriate for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, obviously we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe during when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no idea what was going on with Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear. I don't believe he works there anymore. So that was kind of him, just getting out there and perhaps trying to rescue his own reputation. And I think that only made his reputation worse, actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview, that he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense. Again, you constantly have these people that believe, like Brian Harpole, that with enough performance he can sit down and you're just going to convince people that this is real. And this is just a different time. Like I said, these TikTokers are out of control. They will check you in 4 seconds, okay? Things that, the biggest piece of this that I wanted to communicate, and that I did communicate to them, and I hope that they took me seriously on this, or that, rather that they take my strong advice on this. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Like that, more will come out, but you can take it from me that this is what happened. I was looking to achieve that because there's been a lot of signaling from various people, some people who are experts, some people who have been involved in cases, that there's obviously going to be stuff that the public does not have access to. And so it is at least plausible that they have seen very clear footage that we've been asking for of Tyler Robinson getting up there and taking the shot. Like, they have access to UVU cameras. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident entering Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, like, you know, their lawyer, who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, you know, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share with me, I will not say what that thing is. That's if we want to protect the integrity of the case. I'm not going to, you say, we've got the footage of him taking a shot. I promise I won't say that to the audience. but I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no, to the exact contrary, this guy effectively said, not effectively, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what we have seen is what they have. What is being discussed publicly, you are this whole like non-expert problem of like, well, you don't know. It's like what you read, his messages that don't have any dates on it, Tyler Robinson writing out everything and a clean alibi. That's what they have. And what he explained to me was that that's the affidavit stage. That's where it's at. And then what takes place now is the investigation is ongoing, right? So right now they're looking for more information, and once investigators, they could very well have obviously footage, and that is why they might feel that, oh, we're definitely going to get this prosecution. But the reality is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erika. They don't, in this part of the process, they will not know what in-depth investigators have discovered. This is what the lawyer told me until May. Okay, they have not seen anything that you have not seen, is what I want you to know. So, with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling, why do I put the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming, the evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That, to me, feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times to become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offer that a more honest way to communicate would just be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly, I said that, I think he's involved. We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at.
The only thing fake and gay is you, Candace, okay? For y'all who don't understand what gaslighting is, this is gaslighting. She's accusing TPSU, whatever the hell, Turning Point USA of gaslighting, the lawyers of gaslighting. What she is doing to her audience is gaslighting. She's confusing, she's draining, and the entire conversation is 40 minutes, and it's just long where you eventually just want to tune out. She's talking in circles.
I'm just gonna go ahead and end the live stream here. But I think the best part of the live stream is the first 45 minutes. Go back and look at it if you can. With that being said, like, share, subscribe. Peace. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.